Hi there, and welcome back to AI with Muzammil. Today, we are going to be diving down right into the basics of Python programming. Specifically, we're going to be working on data variables and knowing some basics of data structures. So, whether you're a beginner or just trying to brush up on your Python skills, this video is for you. Grab your favorite drink and let's go. All right, so let's jump right into it. The first thing that we're gonna do is change the Conda environment from this base to the environment that we created in the last video, if you remember. And again, this is not that big of a project, but it's always a good practice to keep using environments to isolate different projects so that you ha don't have compatibility or dependency issues or bugs. So we're gonna change our environment, and for that we can use Conda activate and then the name of the environment, which was my first env. And if we enter, we can see that the prompt has changed from base to my first env. So now we are in the correct environment, and then we can clear the screen and start programming the way we want to do it. Okay, so for data, today we are going to talk about data structures and data types, and we are going to use variables for that. So data is basically stored in a computer program in terms of in different variables and in different data types. So there are different types of data that we are going to see now. And then again, we can also use different variable names for this different types of data. The first is, let's say we have a name of a person, and we can name this person as Bob, right? And this basically means a string. So a string is basically a set of different characters small. So we can see that we have a B and then a small o and then a small b. And this is basically a set of different characters. And that's why we call it a string. And it basically refers to the data type str or string. And this is basically used to store different types of strings. It can be names, it can be a detail of a thing, it can be anything that could be written in form of a string. And then we can also print these names a simple way as we did. We can write print and then we can write print name. And when we run the program, we saw last time that there are two ways to run this program. We can click on this play button and it will play the or run the program. And we can also write Python and then write the name of the file, which is which starts for var. And then we can press the tab like this, and it's gonna fill out the rest of the file name. And then we can enter and we see that the name is printed, right? Then the second type of data is integer, and integer can be, let's say, birth year or year, and we can say that Bob was born in 2000, right? Let's assume that the date of birth of Bob was 2000. So this is, as we can see, this is an integer, this is a complete number, and that's exactly why we call it an integer, and short for int. The data type for this year variable or this kind of datas are int, and we can similarly also print this year as print year. And we can see here that Python variable, and when I printed it, we can see that it has printed the name and also the year. So that's about string and integers. We have a third type of data, which is basically float, and it can be, let's say, height of the person, height of Bob, and it can be 175 point, let's say 8 centimeter. And since it involves something right after the integer with a decimal point, that's exactly why we use floating point values for this. And this is basically, this refers to the floating data type or floating data type of datas. And we can also similarly print the height as something like this. And we can say over here, we can clear the screen to make sure that we have, what we are printing. And we can see that when we run the program, we can print the name of the person, the year of the person he was born, and also the height of the person. These are basically different ways to store the data. We can also combine printing all of them together. But remember that when we try to print something together, so this print function basically it accepts string inputs only. So that's why we uh, only when printing multiple data types. Okay, so when we want to print all of these together, we need to convert these into str or string data type, and that's how only we can print them. So for example, we can do it right away. The name is already in string, so we don't really need to convert it. Uh, when we try to convert the year, we can do something like str and then we can put this year within this str function. It basically tells that convert this year into a string format, and this plus basically means to combine them as in one string. And then we can also combine, let's say, the height of the person like this. And when we try to print it, we can see that we had this Bob printed here, and we had this year, and then we had this height, and then we also have this printed together. So to make it clean, we can first comment it out, and we can also comment this out. By commenting, we mean that when we uh, try to write a hash symbol in front of anything, that basically doesn't run, and the program skips running that instruction. So when we have written this hash symbol in front of this print, that basically tells the compiler not to run this specific line, and that's how we can skip specific lines using hash. And it can also be true for like other instructions. And we can say here that then okay, we can say here that the name is we can say the name is or make it simple. The name of the person is name, okay? And then we can say uh, the birth year is uh, birth year. And then we can also say the height is the height. And when we try to print it after clearing up the screen, we can see we have an error that means something's wrong somewhere. And that could be what exactly? Let me figure it out. Okay, what does it say? Bad operand type for. Oh, okay. We have an extra uh, comma here that was creating the issue. Okay, we can run it again and we can see that it says that the name is Bob, the birth year is 2000, and the height is 175. We can also make it a bit cleaner and do something like this to make it look clearer. And then when we print it again, we can see that it says the name is Bob, the birth year is 2000, and the height is 175 point something. So that's it with the variables. Next, we can move on to different data structures. And for data structures, we have lists, we have tuple, and then we have dictionary. These are basically data structures. And okay. So we can have also these different variables stored within one variable or within one data structure, and for that we basically use list. And let's say we can also say that my list can have, for example, this name and then the year and then the height. And here we can print the list by saying that it is the list. And when we can print it, we can see that it says Bob 2175.8. Now, this list basically contains these different variables that we have already defined up there, but we can also assign it from the very start. We can say uh, that store a new name and call it Anna, and maybe like a new date of birth, I don't know, 2002, and then also height, make it 180, and store it as my new list. And when we try to print it, we can see that it's going to print the new data that's stored in here. We can also see how many entries do we have in this specific list. And the way to do it is you call the length function on this list and print it out. And when we try to run this program, we can see that it says 3. For convenience, we can remove uh, printing it out. So now if we see it again, uh, we can see that it says 3. So we have 3 elements in here. And then we can also access each of uh, the indexed item here. So indexing in Python starts from 0. So if you want to access the very first item, we have to say 0. And when we print it, it's going to say Anna, which is on the first item. We can say the second one, it's going to print it out the year she was born. And on the second, which is basically the third, we have 180, which is the height. And what happens if we access the third index? It says list index out of range. So it basically throws an index error. And that's basically that we only have 3 elements over here. And while we are trying to access the fourth element, which is in index basically 3. So that's why we cannot really access that. Similarly, we can also have what we call as tuple, uh, tuple, tuple. And tuples are basically created using these small brackets. So this is basically list. This is basically tuple, and it also does the same what we did with the list. If we print it out, it does the same process, but we can see that it shows that in small brackets, meaning that it's tuple. We can also in a similar way try to print the first entry and the second entry. We can also change it to, let's say, Sophia, and then we print it out. It's gonna say Sophia. Uh, but the difference between list is that list is mutable, uh, mut mutable, and the tuples are immutable. Okay, this means that the lists can be changed, but the tuple cannot be changed. So, for example, if I print my list here and I want to see what is the first entry of the list, it's gonna say the first entry of the list is Anna, but I want to change the first entry of the list. Okay, I want to say the first entry of the list is, let's say, uh, I don't know, uh, Irfan. Okay, so when I'm gonna print it out, it's gonna show Irfan. So it has actually changed the first entry of the list here. But if I try to do something similar, and for example, before that, I would try to see uh, what my tuple is, and if I try to print it out, I can see that it says Sophia. So the first element of the tuple is Sophia. And if I want to change the first entry of my tuple by doing something like my tuple of 0, change it to uh, Irfan, and try to print it out, we can see that we have a type error. So tuple object does not support item assignment. So this means that it cannot really assign anything to the tuple after it has been created. And that's the difference between my list and the tuple. That's it for this list and tuple. And then we have the last is at my dictionary. And basically, the way to represent a dictionary is these curly brackets. Dictionary basically, or dictionary, they have they basically represent a key value pair. Okay, key value pair. And this basically means that we can have, let's say, a name as a key to some data, and then we can also assign what is the name of the person. So we can say that the name of the person is um, Eva Max. Okay, and then we can also assign the age of the person uh, as a key. Okay, we can say that the age of the person is, we can store it as integer, let's say 20. Let's make it 20. That sounds a bit realistic for them. And then the last entry we can assign, let's say, year of birth. Okay, and we can say, let's say that the year of birth is would be should be 2002. And when we try to print the dictionary over here, we can also say print and my dictionary. And when you try to print it out, we can see that prints out the dictionary with name, Evermax, and age, 20, and year. We can also access the keys of this dictionary only by printing my dictionary.keys. So it will tell us what are the keys of these dictionaries. We have name, age, and year. And then we can also access the values of these dictionaries. And it can tell you the values are Evermax 20 and 2022, 2002. That's one way to do it. Another way uh, to store a dictionary or use a dictionary is that you can also assign different names. So instead of one name, you can say that the names, and then you can write the names as, let's say, a list, and the list can contain multiple names, Anna, Sophia, and let's say we have Irfan. Okay, and then you can also have a different key as age. Okay, and you can assign the age as another list. So we have, let's say, okay, oops, right. So we have ages for Anna. Let's say she was, I don't know, 20, and let's say Sophia is 18, and let's say Irfan is 45. Okay, and then we can write my dictionary, and we can see what do we have in here. We can see that the names in the dictionary we have Anna, Sophia, and Irfan, and we have their ages at 20, 18, and 45. So we can also store multiple sets of data in dictionary for each key. So we can have a key, and we can also store, let's say, a tuple or I mean, a list for that specific key, and then we can also have another key with another list, and then it can keep on going more complex, and we can add on more data in this format. So that's how we use dictionary. So we had three different data structures here in Python: my list, my tuple, sorry, lists, tuple, and dictionary. You can change these names as per your convenience. These are just for your own convenience. You can write a very suitable names the way that it suits you. And yeah, just remember to use it properly. Uh, yes, that's pretty much it from this tutorial. Besides, by the way, these data structures or data types, we also have some other data types, but those are kind of beyond the scope of this basic tutorial, so we are not going to really discuss them. These are the most used ones, and that would suffice for this tutorial. Yes, that's it from this tutorial. Thank you for hanging around. I hope you have a good time learning basics of data variables and data types and data structures. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial. If you have any questions, you can drop them down right into the chat and let me know if you have any question, or if you want to know something else, or any kind of feedback is welcome. Other than that, we're gonna meet in the next video. We are gonna work on more things, explore more topics of this Python journey. Until then, I hope you have a good time and see you soon. Bye. Thank you.